Hello everyone, Venris here, and we are back in Majesty 2 making series Casual Venris that I hope you like, because it's a fair episode. A big achievement for a person that never is able to do long-lasting series, so I'm quite happy with it. And first of all, I would like to say thank you for everyone that commented on the previous video, because we had tons of comments, tons of very good comments and eye-opening stuff for me also about the subject, so toxicity in Total War community. And yes, I'm very happy that many of you shared my thoughts and just wanted to talk about it. So yeah, that's very surprising for me also that so many of you liked the format and let's hope series. Today we have a little bit different topic, because I promised you a video about vampires. Yes, we'll be talking about vampires. I know there are a lot of topics that we should talk, like the... my mind is wary because it's very early. About the news that we had about Cafe yesterday, because CA showed for the first time so actual campaign stuff, and as this mechanic itself looked fine for me. I think they are fine, nothing really groundbreaking. Looks like that those mechanics are very unpolished still. You can see it with the effects, because they are like +3 growth is nothing. But yeah, the idea looks fine. I think we shall see how it ends when everything is released. But we had a lot of cool UI elements out there, like corruption for each chaos god also, and the thing that I think the most, that the public order effects will be a base game thing. So you had a bar with levels of public order. This is a thing that I made with Zarkis in the first Warhammer, and then it was transferred to Warhammer 2, and then even CA added this change from mod. So yeah, I'm very proud of this change that even developers decided to add it. But yeah, enough about Total Cafe. Sorry, as I said, it's very early for me. Vampires. We are talking about vampires with this episode. What about them? We have two vampire factions in Warhammer 2, and one of them is Vampire Counts, so faction from Warhammer 1, and second is Vampire Coast. And I will say something a bit controversial, you can say, because I generally think that Vampire Coast are best faction ever made by Creative Assembly. I know it's controversial, but I think they are best faction, and I will tell you today why. I was working on Vampire Coast when they were released, so it was about 2-3 years, something like that. And back then I was working on them quite a lot on the release, adjusting their system, things like that. But to be honest, I was never a big fan of the faction. It's not about the gameplay or a faction itself, it's the team. I'm not a big fan of pirate team. Like, the only movie that I like about pirates is the second movie of Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm not a fan of the first one or the rest. The second one is only the one that I find fun for me, and it's because of Kraken. I like big scary sea monsters because they terrify me. But getting to the point. If Vampire Coast, why they are good? When they were released, they were OP as hell. They were the second faction released for the game. First one were the Tomb Kings, and with Vampire Coast, CA started a trend of making released DLCs quite OP. They were nerfed later on, but on release, yeah, this was very overpowered faction. They had almost everything, I can say. They had ogres in roster, so yeah, that also means that they are bad. But they had not the roster, not the theme is the most important thing. The most important thing here is the fact that to this day they are faction with the most number of mechanics. This is a faction with tons of mechanics, like really tons of mechanics. I will tell you what are those mechanics. First of all, they are pirates, so their legendary lords have a very cool thing that is ships. They have horde ships. I remember when it was announced and people were very afraid of this feature, but it ended great. So your legendary lords are semi-horde factions, semi-hordes having several buildings with effects and army abilities, and it really worked. This is the best implementation of horde faction for me in the Total War series, Warhammer series. And yeah, it was just working, as one developer would say. Very glad that it was that way. The second thing that we had, also linked to the pirate theme, temporary main. Okay, just wanted to look on this. We had treasure hunting. So treasure hunting, again, quite interesting thing, because you were giving a hint on a map, on places in the map, and you would need to go there and use a special stunt to dig treasure. On the paper, idea quite great, because digging treasures were giving you items, but in the long run it ended like not worth it, because the rewards were too small for the effort that you had to do. But mechanic is there, mechanic is unique, mechanic is working. So I'm happy with it, because as I said, it was just working. Then we had another mechanic that people are mixed about to this day, and this mechanic is, let me upgrade all the stuff here, because you know we are playing the game and I want to win this game. We had Regiments of the Renown were changed to not be unlocked with levels, but you need to go and take out special captains. And okay, it was quite interesting, because you need to go on a journey to get those units. And again, on the paper, very cool. Some people still don't like it because it requires effort, and things that require effort can make people not do those stuff from time to time. But then we have another thing that they have, and this is a whole infamy system. The infamy system is like their special currency that they gather to unlock specific battles with, again, other pirates, and when you win those battles, you are unlocking army ability Shanty, one verse of Shanty ability, and those abilities were quite powerful, also giving you big benefits in battles. And you can do 3 of them. It's also linked to the main quest, but about the main quest I will tell you in a minute. What else? Infamy didn't have any other use really in the campaign. You only gather it. Then we had offices. Back in the day when it was released, offices were also for the Empire, so many people were not happy about it, and also was on Wood Elves, I think. Yeah, it was on the Wood Elves, so many people were not happy about this implementation. But I think the offices work very good for a pirate team faction. Offices is you're giving an office to a lord, and it's getting some his bonuses or faction bonuses or both. Really. What do we have else? The else thing is. Let me just go and send those heroes to their death. I mean, for a journey ahead. And you had a theme of vampire coves. Mechanic that was quite a revolution back in the days when it was released, because people were very surprised about it. Is that you're making under settlements, I can call it. So you're making a settlement under enemy settlement. You were doing that using the captains, I think. Captains? Yeah, captains are the heroes. Captains. You were using them to send them to a city, and they can make a building out there. It had very unique effects because it was able to take a percentage of settlement income, etc. And overall, I think it was quite fantastic idea. And let me think, do we have any other unique mechanics with them? So, we have coves, we have offices, we have hordes, we have regiments of renowned hands, we have horde and infamy. Yeah, that would be all, I think. Also, another thing that when they were released, they were the first faction having thing that was not copied anywhere else later on. So you are getting the... See, I have misspelling problems today. You are getting the items from Technology 3. Yeah, they were items from Technology 3. Very cool thing. Really, I was very surprised back in the day that something like that was possible, even in terms of engine, you know. But it was fully possible and was never used again in the game, sadly, because it's a very cool mechanic. So all of this gives us a very unique faction with a big emphasis on attacking enemies and being quite dynamic. And I was saying on the beginning, I was working on Vampire Coast back in the days when they were released. We added a lot of stuff like more use for infamy, adjustment here and there, and we left the faction for years, really. We didn't have any need for adding stuff to the faction for a long time. And recently I got back to the faction because working on a final update for SFO that is all about vampires. So Vampire Coast also. I have problems with spelling those names. And I found out that even that I'm not a big fan of vampires as vampire pirates, let's say, I have to say that it is one of the most, if not the most, fleshed out faction in this game. I know, very surprising. But in terms of mechanics, no other factions have such working, like fully working mechanics as they are. It really surprised me, and I wonder if CA is going with the same theme with Warhammer 2. Warhammer 3, sorry, factions, but I think they won't. Answer is quite simple, because looks like the Vampire Coast was made out of love, really. I see a lot of love in this faction. They put really a lot of effort in the faction that seemingly looks like a faction that they wanted to do, if you know what I mean. It's not like a faction that let's make it for the sake of making it. It really looked like someone had a good idea for the faction and then decided to make it. And this is a theme that is rarely in this game. I have a feeling that it's rarely that, or maybe not in the game, but overall in this industry, that not everything that are done of pure enjoyment or will of wanted to do something unique. And Vampire Coast is such a faction. I know I'm blubbering a little bit today, but I had this reflection some times ago when I was working on the faction, and yeah, I really I found a lot of respect to the faction. My towers are dying as hell today. Yeah, I found this respect to the faction that I never thought that I will do anything with, because I never cared about this faction. Being fully honest, I did not care about this faction at all. For me, it was like an ignore. We did stuff that was required and then left the faction in the dirt. I admit, we left the faction in the dirt for years. But right now I was able to get back to it, and I think that Vampire Coast is a very, maybe not neglected, but forgotten faction. People forgot how stuff can be done. And I think that it's maybe not a pinnacle, but it is one of the best CA design that they ever had in terms of faction creating, because everything works there, everything fits there, and you see that there was like a larger idea behind the faction. That's my impression, at least, that you can feel that something out there, someone out there had a good idea and just wanted this idea to be done. Yeah. Also, the thing that I need to talk about, we're talking about the Vampire Coast, they have the best final battle in the game. Just fantastic final battle. Like, god damn it, this battle is just superb. Really, 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 really. I love it. Best final battle in the game for me. Like, hands down. The fact that you have Amanar there, this giant sea worm that appears in the battle, because if you don't know, the battle is under the sea, and he from time to time comes out in the special places, or you can see his shadow above your unit. You can see how giant he is, and it's like nice. This is just nice. This is the thing that I was talking about. You can really see that someone had an idea and wanted to get this idea real, and this person did it. Let me check. Temples remain to be built. 1. Okay. We need to make temples of area. Okay, I screw up. I screw up the game. 9. Not defended. Okay. Yeah, sorry for, as I was saying, a little blabbering today. We're not talking about hard topics, but I think that it's a good it's good to talk about the thing that was really forgotten, but was made good by CA. Really, CA is not a bad company, no matter what people say sometimes, and with all this toxicity recently, I think that some of the design that they made, especially the Vampire Coast, are really good. Really, really good. Yeah, Vampire Coast is like a... I was really surprised when playing them right now, testing some stuff, and how much I just like them. I just like the faction. So much happening with that. Faction that I would never think that I would like. Yeah, a lot of happening here. And guys, what do you think about Vampire Coast? What do you think about the faction? Do you think that this is the faction that, same as I'm saying, that is really forgotten, left in the dirt when it deserves more? I know, it's a bit controversial that I'm talking about such stuff, especially that I'm a person that likes to complain, but I think this is a faction that really deserves some attention, needed attention that was taken from it in those years, because we really forgot about this faction in the long run. Like, no one is talking about Vampire because they are nowhere seen. YouTubers are not making videos about them. They are not in a multiplayer meta. They are like totally forgotten when it should not be a thing, as I was saying. Okay, enough of my blubbering. This would be one of today's episode. I will be recording the second one because tomorrow I need to leave, and we'll have it for tomorrow, so a Friday. So thank you everyone for listening to my blubbering again about the Vampire Coast. Always, if you like the content, you can like it, subscribe the channel, and hit that notification bell button. Also, you can donate on PayPal and Patreon, because thanks to your support, this content is being made. It was Blubbering Venris in Majesty 2. See ya!